Are you ready to see genetically modified humans walking around the neighborhood, working with you in your place of employment, or competing with your children in school? Stay tuned and you'll see why. Hi, my name is Mario Diana. I'm a physician and a cell biologist, and I'm here to discuss with you something that this week took place on the world stage. November 25th, a gentleman from the Southern University of Science and Technology in China named Yankui, or Jankui, and I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it, revealed both publicly through YouTube platform of all things and a document that was posted in China's clinical registry, which we see here. I don't speak Mandarin, but it's pretty impressive. Anyway, he revealed that two girls named Lulu and Nana, as you can see here from the printout of his website that may soon disappear. Anyway, two girls named Lulu and Nana were born to a family in his lab, or that worked in his lab or participated in a trial in his lab. Anyway, the interesting thing about the Lulu and Nana is the fact that these are genetically modified humans, product of IVF. How are they genetically modified? Well, Mr. or Dr., I'm not sure, Yankui has been researching a way of getting rid of HIV sensitive proteins. In other words, a way for the HIV virus to actually attack the tissue cells. Well, he's figured out a way to limit sensitivity to HIV by taking out the gene that codes for this little attack points for the HIV virus on human cells. Well, he did that. He did that in vitro, meaning in the lab, with the product of IVF of embryos, basically, that were produced for the sole purpose of his research. Now, this is not something that should be allowed, but it is. And the public outcry that was prompted by his revelation only really pertains to, well, we know you're doing it, we know you did it, you know it's not okay to do it, but we still need to look into it, so you shouldn't do it just yet. So we're not really discussing whether it's okay to do it or not to do it. They already assume that it's okay to do experimentation on human embryos through production of IVF products, IVF embryos, and then experiment on them. Because why not? We're just like any other lab animal that can be experimented on, apparently. Well, the public outcry has resulted in the removal of Mr. Yankui's statement from the website of the Southern University of Science and Technology in China, but the YouTube release, his videos still stand. Interestingly, when our researchers are interviewed on the subject, the point that they want to make and continue to make is it shouldn't be allowed to do, it needs to be, but not because there's anything wrong with it, it's just that you need more oversight. We need to figure out how this can actually happen. Why? Because they're all doing it. Because research on human embryos is being done everywhere. Well, it's been done in a lot of places. And it's done with the cloak and the shroud of legality of, well, we're researching because we're trying to cure XYZ, or we're trying to support or alleviate the discomfort of XYZ, from Marfan syndrome to HIV. Granted, I'm a physician, we all want to cure diseases and we all want to prevent diseases if at all possible. But the end does not justify the means. Experimenting on human beings created for the sole purpose of being experimental animal is sickening and abhorrent. Feng Zhang, a researcher at the Broad Institute at MIT at Harvard, was on his way to the Hong Kong Gene Editing Summit when he was interviewed, and this is just after the release of this news on the subject. And he made this statement. It says, "I am deeply concerned about the lack of transparency surrounding this trial." And this was reported in the MIT Technology Review. "All medical advances, gene editing or otherwise, are particularly those that impact vulnerable population, should be cautiously and thoughtfully tested, discussed openly with patients, physicians, scientists, and other community members, and implemented in an equitable way." He's not saying that it's wrong to do. He's just saying he didn't get to do it, and so nobody else should be able to do it. It needs to be equitable. In other words, everybody has got to do the crazy stuff so that it's okay. This is absolutely abhorrent and sickening, and I am talking about it because somebody has to. And I'm sure there are very qualified people out there making their statements carefully crafted and appropriate so that their words may not be misconstrued like mine would be. But you know what? Somebody has to say something, and I guess that's going to be me now. And I believe that we're at the point where we're seeing a roach scurrying in the kitchen. This roach is showing us that there are hundreds, if not thousands more, of people like this guy, He Yankui, who's for the sole purpose of his own fame and satisfaction is able to interfere with the human genome to make a change that is inheritable, that can change the life of human beings from that point on. And he's doing so with apparently lack of oversight, but maybe he has plenty of oversight. I don't know. And there's really no way to know for sure. The fact is, this document that I'm looking at right here, which is the document with which the researcher Zhang authorized his research, is dated 2017. This was filed with the university in 2017. This is not lack of oversight. This is plenty of oversight. It's been going on for years, and their first research on human beings fertilized in vitro for the purpose of just that was that in 2015. That's almost 4 years ago. And what has happened in 4 years? It took 4 years to get the world researcher population to agree on a meeting on a gene editing summit to occur now, November 25th, 2018. Why? Because they're concerned about the equitable distribution of such research, to manage oversight so that everyone has access to this data. I'm sorry, but that is not just abhorrent, it's self-destructive. We as humans cannot allow this to continue. We as humans have to take into our hands and manage this ridiculous drive to be the first. Mr. Yankui was doing just that. And he says it publicly, both on his news release and the YouTube video, that he didn't really talk about it much because he wanted to keep it under wrap, because his main concern was, I want to be the first one to publish on this. How many of those researchers are like that out there? They're doing just that. They're doing something in secret on the human genome so that they can say, I was the first one to do it. Enough. Enough is enough. Government may interfere, may take years to interfere, but we can. And this is what I'm doing right now, is I'm letting people know we need to be aware this is happening right now. We need to understand what it is. We need to take it into our hand and act to regulate this ridiculously sickening process that will alter human life as we know it if we leave it unchecked.